How to drive a Tesla through Texas? I don't know, but he had a reason to try. Dr. Faraz Harsini. In a moment you'll meet him. In the meantime, press the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Help he and I get the animals out of hell. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
You're
So I'm a biomedical and food system scientist. So my job is basically to look at how different food systems work and their environmental impact, their impact on public health, zoonotic diseases, antibiotic resistance. And really, when we think about food, it's not just what we put in our mouth. It's so much bigger than that. It has consequences. These consequences extend to our lives, and it extends to also trillions of animals. These are the things that I generally consider when we research diet and nutrition.
Dr. Faraz Harsini, he's not a meanie. If he can be vegan, so can you. Dr. Faraz Harsini, he's not a meanie. If he can be vegan, so can you.
Basically, through my job, I basically lecture about this in universities. There is a course that I co-teach. It's called The Great Food Transformation at Harvard. But it's really important for me not to just be doing this while I'm so disconnected with the reality. And that's what I always encourage my students to do as well, because it's really easy to sit behind our computers or like in classrooms in AC environment and just talk about food and nutrition and all that stuff without really being on the ground and looking at the extent of the problem. So that's what motivated me to use my day off during Christmas and go visit a few farms, dairy and meat farms. They're called concentration campuses or CAFOs.
Concentration camps.
Yeah. So that's what they're called. In the legal word for it is CAFO, concentrated animal feeding lots, or feeding operations, or basically farms. So the crazy thing is you don't have to try hard to find these farms. You generally can find them only for cows and pigs, because for chickens they're oftentimes like indoors, so it's really hard to get into those buildings, which is really it kind of sucks, because those animals, they can do anything to them and no one can even go and see that from outside. But for cows and pigs, all it takes is to go to Google Maps and like zoom around the cities, and it's really easy to find them, especially in Texas, North Carolina, and California, and many other states. So all I did was, I really thought that, it's Christmas Day, a lot of people get together with their families, but thousands of animals have to stay in cold, taken away from their family members, literally waiting for slaughter while they're living on their feces. And of course, I knew the environmental issues and all that stuff. I knew it, but I really wanted to go and see it with my eyes. So I decided to do that. I couldn't find anyone who was interested in spending their Christmas Day that way, so I had to go alone.
I totally would have gone with you. What it inspired me to contact you to talk to you was that I saw you made a post on Instagram where you were in your car and you said you were really kind of scared at one point because you are in the middle of nowhere. And also I saw that you had some aerial footage that you were in I wasn't sure if it was a helicopter or a plane, and you were looking down at these feedlots and thousands of animals. And so that's what I wanted sort of to talk about a little bit, how you felt experiencing that.
So, I put the address on my map. One of them was about 7 hours away. I live in Austin, so I was going to West Texas. I wanted to look at some of them that are closer to some of those cities. Anyways, so after I got to a major city, I had to drive about an hour north of that city. It's called Lubbock, Texas. And, I was like, all right, not bad, 1 hour of driving. But what I didn't realize was about half of that drive was between farms. it wasn't actually like a good road. My car could barely handle these roads. Like if I had known, I would have rented a truck.
Like a Jeep or something.
Yeah, which makes sense why everyone has a truck in Texas. But so yeah, I had to drive in these roads. There was nobody on these roads between farms. And I was like, even if I get a flat tire, I don't know what's going to happen. But fortunately, I could make it. I got really close to one of the farms and actually went inside. So one of them was this one I particularly chose because if you look on the map, you see just thousands of like animals, but then on a separate part of this farms, you see a place where it's like full of tiny white dots. Those dots that you can see from Google Map, they are actually crates that they use to take away baby calves from their mothers. So in dairy farms, they have to separate mothers from their babies. If they're male, they're sent to slaughterhouse, and if they're female, they have to separate them and keep them in these crates. And I had seen them.
Me too. I'd seen them on videos, but it's when you first see that, you can hardly believe it's actually true. When you say a crate, it's almost like a tent, but it's kind of made out of plastic, right? And there's just one, like a baby cow in there, bored out of their mind, sad, terrified.
Actually, this is something that I didn't know, that, yeah, the crates are maybe just slightly bigger than the calf itself. But in this farm, they had actually 3 or 4 shoved into one of these crates.
Wow.
And yeah, I was really scared because the day before it rained. So the roads were super muddy. So I almost got stuck in one of them. And if I did, there was no one around really to help. And it's Texas. Everyone has a gun. And even though I was driving, between like on public properties, so technically I wasn't doing anything that I wasn't supposed to, but I knew that, I don't look like Texan, I didn't look like I had a business there. Tried to come up with a story, but like my heart was beating really fast. I was really scared there every now and then. So I had to stop in order to record and investigate. And, these trucks would stop by, I tried to say hi, and, some of them tried to be friendly and didn't care. But I knew that, they probably get suspicious really quickly. So I was really afraid and scared. And I had never done this before by myself. But anyways,
you would think that there's no reason for them to be upset. I mean, if they're proud of their work and they're proud of their animals and the way they're treated, but I think I can see it from your perspective. You might, they might misunderstand the law. You could be on a public street and they will claim that it's their street or their road because there's nobody around. But you look like you came out alive. You came out.
Yeah.
I don't see any scars, I guess. But how do you feel about having seen it with your own eyes? Would you think it was worth it, the trip?
It was 100% worth it. Okay. And I encourage everyone.
Because some of the videos are quite compelling. They have the music, they have the close-ups and everything. And, I don't know that I necessarily feel the need to go myself. I think I would just start sobbing. I think I would just break down and cry. I would be just a mess. And I would be so afraid of seeing, like I've seen videos where the calves, when it did rain and they were like in mud, and I've seen people try to rescue them, and then the cops arrested them for trying to rescue a calf, like calling it stealing. Like I would just be completely a mess if, I don't know. Anyway,
no, it was horrifying. I actually have been in Auschwitz. I've been in concentration camps. And the way that I felt was bad in a way that, there was so much suffering that happened in this ground that your brain just cannot process. Like you look at all these concentration camps, all the gas chambers, you see all these fences, and you think about all the people who suffered here. And it's just like, you can't imagine. It's just not, it does not compute. And that was the exact same feeling that I got. I was like, there are so many mothers, so many babies standing in this like freezing temperature in front of me. I don't know how to feel. And the thing is, I wanted to look at it from the ground and from the air, because the scale of it, you can only capture it from the above. But when so for some of them, I actually went inside the property and recorded it. For one of them, after I did that, I was like, maybe I should ask for a tour, because sometimes you can do this sort of things. You can ask if you could have a tour for a class or whatever. And like you mentioned, the guy was like, no, you should like get out of here. What
Like, wait, so
particularly
what did you do? Wait, did you like see somebody outside, or did you like walk all the way up a long driveway and like knock on the door, or how
Yeah,
did you?
these are super large facilities. You have to drive in and maybe 10 minutes while you see animals like on both sides. You
Okay.
drive basically amongst all these animals that are behind the fences, and then you just get to the office area or whatever. So I was just saying, hey, I was looking for the office and see if I can do a tour. But that already gave me an opportunity to record and see a lot of animals. And what particularly bothered me is all these farms that I visited, on the outside, they show happy animals. They like the dairy farm. I could see it. Okay, so I have to say this. I don't often go live because I rather just prepare for my talks and whatever. This one I had to go live, and the videos I have on my Instagram is from the time that I recorded it live, because I just wanted to say I didn't try hard to actually find these farms. I'm here. You are live with me. You are seeing it with your own eyes, that this is the truth behind dairy. And then I turned and I was like, this is what they had, the milk tanks, the tankers. And on the tanker it said from farm to you. And I was like, and then there's like a picture of one happy calf. And I was like, look at it. This side on my left, you could see all the crates, all the babies in freezing temperature, screaming for the mothers. On my right, I had all these mothers. And the entire neighborhood smells like shit. So it's so bad. I don't know if people know, but if you look, that's how easy this is. The reason it's so easy to find them is because you look at a lake that is red. And that's basically lagoons. So those are lakes full of waste products. And they have nitrogen, they have phosphorus, they have antibiotic resistant species. They're one of the biggest threats to public health. And oftentimes they're in the neighborhood of low socioeconomic level people who live in that neighborhood. Yeah, there is a documentary called The Smell of Money that investigated Black community who live near pig farms in North Carolina or South, can't remember. But in any case,
and for us, at some point, I've seen that they start to just spray this stuff everywhere to try to like drain the ponds or whatever. They just literally get this giant spray and just spray it everywhere, and then it goes in the air as well.
That's not something I saw, because there were actually agricultural lands around it, so they could very well be doing that, but they also piled them up as solid waste. That's something else that you can see. But in any case, the dust contains antibiotic resistant species. That's because of all the antibiotics that they give it to it. And by the way, if you guys don't know, 80% of antibiotics in the world is fed to farm animals because of the gross environment and conditions they raise them in. And that leads to antibiotic resistant species. And before going beyond all of that.
Yeah, 1 second, in case people don't understand, because I'm a nurse and I do understand that. Like we've had patients where there is antibiotic resistance, and then you're scrambling because they have an infection to try to find another antibiotic to help. And then sometimes you just run out. And so this is the problem, is that we develop something called antibiotic resistance when they are just out there being given so freely to these animals. 80% is just astronomical. And then what if your child gets sick and then they don't work? Like, this is a very real fear for the future, right?
Yeah. So think about the last time you had a sore throat and you went to doctor and they gave you antibiotics, and clearly it worked because you're here watching this. But when you have an antibiotic resistant infection, that means that the therapeutics that we have, the antibiotics that we have, will not work. Meaning that a simple sore throat can kill you, and if it's infectious, it can kill a large population. It would be the worst pandemic ever. And it is only a matter of time until this happens, as long as we consume animal products.
The moral of the story is that everyone should be vegan and everybody should be an animal rights activist and tell stories the same way that you did. So I think it's great that you took the time to actually see this with your own eyes. I mean, you just also come back from India?
Yes.
You
So
want to
I
touch a
actually
little bit on that?
investigated dairy in India, especially because a lot of Indians think that cows are treated with respect and all that. I have Indian people in the US who drink milk because they think cows are treated nicely in India. And I'm like, how does that even relate to what they do here? But the truth is, please go watch the documentary Maa Ka Doodh, or Mother's Milk on YouTube. So that shows you the truth behind dairy industry in India. So in India, I was getting an award and I ended up lecturing around the country. So what I asked Indians was, what is the number one exporter of beef around here? India. They knew it. I was like, do you stop to wonder, where does that beef come from? Those are actually from cows. So it is true that in some states, slaughtering cows in India is banned, but all they have to do is to export them to other states or use buffalo. They can produce milk from buffaloes, and it's the speciesism all around again. They can kill buffaloes with no problem, so there's that. But I just want to say this.
Just in case, because just 1 second, just because my audience, it tends to be younger, so they might not understand about India and cows, that they're considered to be sacred there. You often see them in the streets just walking around, and a lot of people have this illusion that they are well cared for, and in reality, a large amount of leather and meat still comes out of that country, and that's why you're recommending that documentary. And you'll send me the link and we'll put it below. Yeah.
I want to be really clear that unfortunately, and that's why I became vegetarian first, because I just didn't know about the truth behind egg and dairy. And the moment I saw it, I was like, there is no way I want to be a part of this. Right. What I really want people to know is that meat, egg, and dairy are the same thing. All those female animals, the moment they don't lay eggs, the moment they don't produce milk, are sent to same slaughterhouse. Even when you have smaller farms. So on my drive to these large farms, I also saw smaller farms. But the same thing is true about those farms. Small animals are kept in freezing temperature. They're put into trucks. Imagine for a second, putting these animals in behind trucks or trailers in cold temperature. Imagine how windy it is. They take them to the same exact slaughterhouse as those big animals. They still have to be taken away from their parents. They still have to be taken away from their children. So if you're not vegan, if you're watching this, maybe you're wondering, maybe there is a better way to produce food that is not like factory farms. Maybe it's backyard chicken or backyard cows. But I really want to be clear that we cannot produce food for the entire world sustainably using animals, because they're inherently inefficient and they cause a lot of environmental problems. But at the end of the day, what I always encourage people is just, when we think about masses, like 1 trillion animals that we kill, you just lose that connection. What does that even mean? What I encourage you to think about one animal that you care, a dog or a cat. Imagine how much you would do in order to make sure that one animal is okay. Most of us, if we get a call that our pet is in trouble, we would drop anything we are doing. We spend thousands of dollars to make sure that one animal is safe and sound and protected.
But you know what? For us, it's what's even crazier is that people who don't even have cats or dogs, I often say to them, if we're standing wherever, in a park, a shopping center, anywhere, I say, if suddenly you saw like a little baby pig or you saw a little chick, what would you do? every single person in there, whether they like animals or not, would go up and go, oh my God, there's a baby chick here. There's a pig. We have to help the pig. Everyone would gather around and feel like such heroes for trying to find the mother or trying to bring this pig to safety, or it could be cow on the side of the road or whatever. And then they all go home and eat animals. It's so crazy. You see this in video after video of people, going on a lake to save a deer that's stuck there or something, and then the disconnection, the cognitive dissonance is real.
You're absolutely right. Another example I always say is like when you find a baby bird outside of the nest, what do? Like, everyone tries to find the nest and do something. No one says, "Oh, baby bird," no one does that. But
so why do you think that they don't? Why do you think that? Yeah, why do you think that people don't eat baby birds that fall out of the nest, when in fact they do eat chickens and talk about Kentucky Fried Chicken, all these things all the time? Why is that? Because we're not meant to. We're not meant to eat these animals. We are compassionate people. So what happened to us along the way? What is your theory?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If we had the nature of attacking animals and eating meat, on my drive, I saw a lot of roadkills. I should have just stopped by and, like yummy roadkill. That's what actual wild animals do. They would attack each other.
You would have salivated, and you would have just run there and started just eating without cooking, without a knife and a fork, and you would have just been full of blood. That's not us.
Yeah,
none of us.
We're just you go on a walk. You go on a walk and you see a squirrels. You would, just like your dog or cat, you probably start attacking them without even thinking. You find a bunny on the ground, and you just start attacking them if you really meant to eat that stuff. But the truth is, when we see a lot of animals, if it's not because of that conditioning by society, we show love, we show compassion, we show we want to protect them. That's the nature of us, really. Yes, if you think that humans are better in any way, or if we are smarter, we should use that to be more compassionate, to protect, not to bully, not to use our power to hurt others, but to be kinder to them. And we already do that. The thing that annoys me is that we are already so kind and compassionate, except that growing up, and this happened to me too, growing up, eating animals becomes so normalized that we just don't think about it. I remember I had a chicken growing up, and I loved this chicken. And one day my grandma told me, "Oh, sorry, the chicken ran away." I was crying and all that. And 10 years later, my mom said, "Yeah, the chicken soup we had that night." I was still mad. I was still crying. But the thing is, that day I knew I had chicken. I was just like, didn't care, because I didn't think that's that particular. As you can see, there is no logical line here. It's the same exact chicken as any other chicken, except that it's the social conditioning, it's the emotional bonding that we have. But for that animal who has to suffer, it doesn't matter. So all veganism is to not harm animals if we don't have to, and we don't have to.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming today. Is there any parting words you would like to tell people about, something that website you want to send them to? Anything like that? Now's the chance to talk and plug something that's dear to your heart.
Yeah, 2 documentaries that I really recommend. Dominion is one. So watch dominion.org or on YouTube. If you're worried about health impacts, etc., you can watch The Game Changer. So that would be a good one, because I don't really have time to go into nutrition and the health benefits of plant-based diet. But so all I'm saying is that it's a very important topic. It's very urgent. And I come from where you are today. If you're not vegan, I ate animal products and I loved it back in the day. Except when I really faced the truth, it was hard to change, because changing habits is always hard. But when you think about the animals, going vegan becomes the easiest and most rational and logical thing that you can do. And if anyone sitting there is vegan, I beg you to speak up. These animals, I saw them with my eyes. They're locked. They're sick. They're taken away from their families. They're waiting. We are signing their death sentence from the moment they're born. They don't have the power to defend themselves. So if you are vegan, please use your voice.
I say the same thing. And I say, like, especially for me, I've noticed on this app called TikTok that, you can just make a 15-second video, just even if you do one a day. It's just something, it's so easy. Just take a video of your food or talk about a thought you had about the animals, anything, and just show your face, because that is really how so many people became vegan, just by finding me over on TikTok. If you just keep doing it regularly, just to keep mentioning the word vegan, just remind people that we're here. And so through that, they're going to meet you. Some people are going to come over from TikTok, and this is how it works. It's so important that we're out of there. I say, like,
Yeah,
come out of the car.
I just want to say I've been vegan for 11 years. That's when I started my cancer research and biomedical research and saw what happens behind the scenes to animals. Going vegan has been the best decision I've ever made in my life, period.
Me too.
My only regret is that I didn't do it earlier. And I really wish somebody came to me and said, hey, watch this documentary. Hey, you have questions? Here are the answers, but just do it. Think about it, take action. So be that person for someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. And people tell me all the time, why are you forcing us? I always say, I'm not forcing you, but believe me, if I could, I would take you and hold you and say, watch it. Because people who do watch it, I mean, unless they're psychopaths, people who watch it are just shocked. I mean, I've had people, that I've asked, said, hey, you should watch this documentary. I've been asking them for 5 years. Watch these documentaries. When they finally do, they're like, oh my God, I had no idea it was like that. It's like, why didn't you watch it before? Well, you just suggested it. Why didn't you insist? Okay, so now I'm going to insist.
Actually, I want to add something, because you said forcing. When I was at these farms, the thing is, the entire city has to smell like basically cow manure and shit, right? So 200,000 people in the city nearby have to smell shit. They're exposed to dust that contains antibacterial and antibiotic resistant species. If that's not forcing people to get sick, if it's not forcing people to live in cow shit, I don't know what that is. And most importantly, when we eat animals, we have to go to somebody and put a knife in their throats and cut their throats. If it's not us forcing our beliefs, on somebody else, I don't know what is. Veganism is the exact opposite. It's having compassion. And the reason that we have to talk about this is because those animals can't. And I know that everyone who is watching is in their heart. And you are right. The only people that I know who actually enjoy animals being hurt are psychopaths. And psychopaths exist amongst us, and I think statistically with the same rate as murderers. You can't have a murderer to show empathy and sympathy. But the rest of us have that empathy in our hearts. So please just do a self-reflection, think about those animals, and ask yourself, is this the person you want to be? That you have a choice to not harm animals, or do you want to pay for this exploitation to happen?
So I say it takes 100 clicks to become vegan. And I think that just because you appeared here today, that will be somebody's 100th clicks. It will be somebody's vegan declaration day, just because you appeared here today. So thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. And we will see you all, see you online. I'll keep an eye on your account. Sounds like you're doing really cool stuff. All right, take care.
Pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Bye.
Let's follow that vegan teacher on YouTube right now. Let's